The Iron Mace devs are putting in a lot of work, and this game has come so far in such a short amount of time. Every season, which is only 3 months, we get tons of new content, classes, maps, bosses. And so today, thankfully, Ryan 6 days a week is helping to change the narrative. And he's going to provide us with some positive things to come. And then so am I. So stay tuned because we're going to watch the new water monsters and items for Dark and Darker. And then I've got some great information to reveal about the test server. So without further ado, this is Ryan 6 days a week with the new water monsters and items. And I will link his video down below so you guys can watch it and give that some likes and some love because Ryan deserves it. And he's a great content creator and a really good person. And look at this. This is awesome. What is this?
Hey, what's going on, gamers? It's Ryan 6 days a week, and I'm back from the holidays with a new data mining video for you to see regarding the latest content discovered in Dark and Darker.
All right.
For those who are new here, Iron Mace is fine and aware that I make these videos, but they do ask you to not share them in their official Discord.
All right.
This episode will be covering some new monster finds that I expect we'll see in the upcoming water map, some new utility items that we could see sometime this season, and it'll cover some of the previous data mines at the end of last season that didn't quite make it
Awesome
in for
riposte.
this current season.
Holy shit, that was
Once
a good
again, the
riposte.
information
Damn, that guy's
presented in this
juiced.
video is not
Plus
yet
one all?
in the game, so take this as a spoiler alert for the upcoming sections.
I just want to take a quick, a brief pause, guys. I always love this. When you kill someone else and they have an inventory full of loot, he had 0 slots left in his bag for any more loot, and he still tried to attack Ryan. His inventory's full. Why didn't he leave? He played like shit and he died like shit.
So
That
take
guy
this as a
regrets
spoiler
fighting Ryan.
alert for the upcoming
He
sections.
regrets it.
Now, let's take a look at the new monsters.
All right.
I'm going to first begin with the Ancient Stingray, which, across all the monster files I looked at, is the most complete. This
Alright.
Ancient Stingray, to me, seems like a new boss mob.
It looks like
that'll
a
appear
sub-boss.
in the water map. As we know so far, the water map will involve a lot
Damn.
of swimming, so I do expect a completely submerged
That looks
boss
cool,
arena.
man.
These images are the current model of the Ancient Stingray, but
Okay,
of course this could change drastically
that-
upon
That does kind of look like a boss. I was thinking sub-boss, but when he like put it by itself, it looks pretty scary. It's got like 7 eyes.
release. Now, for what it could do, well, there's a couple of movement actions, such as burrowing and of course swimming, but this boss also has a number of spells. It can
Okay.
cast Divine Judgment, Lightning Bubble, Lightning Nova, and Water Arrow. The actual function of these spells cannot yet be explored, but based on their names, and of course the player casted parallels, I'm sure you could figure out what they do. Up next we have the Giant Jellyfish.
I'm surprised
which-
he didn't.
And of course,
I'm surprised he didn't go into that more. So it has burrow, which probably can go underground. Like into the sand or something. Maybe it regains health. Divine Judgment. That just sounds like he can target the nearest creature, like player, and after 1 second, maybe hits them with some sort of similar to the Cleric Judgment. And I like that they're taking spells that are already in the game and giving them to monsters because that's less work for them and more content for us. Lightning Bubble. Obviously that sounds like the Sork Lightning Sphere or whatever it's called, Lightning Shield. Lightning Nova sounds like an AoE lightning attack, which is also, that sounds freaking awesome. And this sounds like a really dangerous creature. And probably, if you're in the water, maybe lightning will do more damage. Maybe Iron Mace always talks about adding elemental damage to the game. And they've said multiple times they want to have a bunch of different poisons for Rogue and different elemental things like elemental arrows. So they are thinking like 5 steps ahead of us. And the creators need to stop in this category, need to stop talking shit on the minute changes. Because the overall picture of the game continues to grow and get better and better, and we're probably on our way to battle passes and awesome content. And I think we should have that because they're dropping tons of cosmetics all the time. And it should be like Fortnite, where you pay a one-time shard fee for a battle pass, and then if you complete the battle pass, you get all the shards back to buy next season's battle pass for free, basically. And so I'm excited, man, to see the future of this game. It's always evolving and it's just getting better and better. Water arrow, that sounds like the sorcerer spell that like shoots the arrow forward. Like there's a little bit of a delay and then it sends it forward. I don't remember what that's called. Maybe it's
the actual
maybe it's
function of
called
these
water
spells
arrow.
cannot yet be
I don't know.
which I imagine
right.
Jellyfish, which has a series of melee attacks and has the ability of summoning, which I imagine would be summoning more jellyfish,
Cool.
another monster that is found in the game files. Do you know that this monster and the next upcoming monsters in this video do not yet have a renderable game model? So the images I used here are more so just based
Oh
on their
my god, he
fantasy
parried the
description.
parry.
Those same sources also state that giant jellyfish commonly have the ability
Let's
to apply
go, dude.
poisons, paralysis, and of course
I love that the clips that he's putting into this are like the best clips ever. The guy, he parried the riposte and then riposted off the parry. That is high tier, man. That is really good.
electrocution.
Well played,
So I
Ryan.
would expect something similar
Again.
to that in the game version. Next we have the pinch claw crab, which similar to the jellyfish does not yet have a game model and just has a series of melee attacks.
Okay.
In typical fantasy settings, crabs like these are usually just basic armored mobs that have a little bit of melee damage.
I agree with
Nothing
that.
too much to worry about. Next we have the mermaid, which we're all familiar with as it appears in a lot of historical texts and of course is a common sight in fantasy novels. The mermaid in Dark and Darker has the ability to sing melodies and fascinate, as well as some melee attacks. Again, there's
Man, this is awesome. This map is going to be so freaking cool. Holy shit. I was resistant to the ice map for a long time, and I think it's just because I was skill diffed. I was afraid of being slowed by the map and by the monsters, and now that I've been playing ice map a lot more this season to quest, I like ice map. And I'm sad that I was resistant to ice map for like 6 months. And I probably a lot of people will be resistant to this map because there's going to be underwater features and you can probably drown and the PvP is going to be intense. There's probably going to be a lot of shadowy, dark underwater areas where like rogues can hide. And this mermaid creature seems amazing. It's kind of like a bard. Fascinate is probably some sort of CC. And it's also possible that the bard has a song that forces nearby creatures to attack each other. It would be really cool if the mermaid could do that. You know, for like 2 seconds, you just attack the nearest monster or the nearest player, like whatever's closest to you. And so then you have to stand like around the mermaid. That way you don't attack your teammates. That would be a really cool monster and a cool sub boss. You know, maybe this is like the Wraith of the underwater area. It's like a little sub boss.
sing melodies.
I also feel like maybe it's going to be harder to cheese monsters if you're underwater. Maybe there won't be objects to like stand on to cheese them. And you know, who knows? Maybe you can still cheese, but I'm excited.
And fascinate, as well as some melee attacks. Again, there's no model yet for the mermaid, but of course there are a ton of images of what they could potentially look like online. I do think the mermaids will be sub-boss level, similar to the cockatrice, and will have a light
Yes,
root
alright.
or paralyzing feature based around their singing melody ability. Maybe even a peacemaking taunt feature that is unique to this mob, and will
Dude,
utilize the
I-
bard's peace.
I can't believe me and Ryan have the exact same thought process here. Chad, I've never seen this video before ever. This is all brand new to me, and I'm going to start doing more stuff like this on stream. Because I do a lot of stuff off stream where I watch videos, and honestly, I need to do that on stream because I'm busy. And I like to hang out with you guys and see what you have to think. And so also to YouTube, please leave some comments. This is awesome. I can't wait for the new map. I know they said 2025, so I don't want to get too excited because that can be any time here in the Year of the Snake. But the sooner the better. If we had a new map next season, that would be hype. We got Sorcerer this season, and we get a new map next season. That's amazing, man. I can't think of any other games that every 3 months just drop fucking tons of new content. Plus, if you didn't see my last video, Iron Mace has said that at some point they want to give us community tools so the player base can develop maps and modules, and then we would vote them in on Steam, basically like Steam mod support, and we would bring new modules into the game, and then they can add those into the random queue, because right now Crypts is fully randomized with Fog of War, and the developers have stated that they want every map to be like that, and that's really good for the game. That's good for PvE, it's good for continuous dungeon, it's good everywhere, and it's a really good feature. And so I do love the game right now, and I think this is the best wipe we've ever had.
Making song functionality. Next, we have the pirates, which we have
Awesome.
very little information for
Awesome, dude.
besides just their names.
Okay, they have guns, dude. They have guns. We are about to get guns inside Dark and Darker. There's no way if the NPCs have guns that we won't get some sort of gun class or gun like the Windlass, and now you have a musket. And it like, I hope that this game's muskets operate on a level of inaccuracy where you just point and shoot and it does a ton of damage, but even if the crosshair is on their head, I hope it has a huge chance to miss. You just fire in that direction, and it like wherever your reticule is, there's like a plus 0.25% chance where it just fires anywhere around your reticule. That would be awesome. Just inaccurate as can be. And then to think of all the clips of like people shooting at each other from across ships. Maybe it's a one-time use item where you pick it up and then you can shoot it, because one-time use items are really cool, and I don't think Dark and Darker has those yet. But a lot of games operate around that setting. Like imagine you could pick up a trident and you push F and it throws it. You can just throw tridents at each other. You just carry it around the map. Doesn't like Chivalry have items like that? So, man, I just feel like, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep white knighting today because I love Dark and Darker and the Iron Mace devs, and I don't think they get enough credit because this is cool shit. This is really cool, and they're open to new ideas and they're trying new stuff, and that makes me happy.
Pirate Gunslinger, the Pirate Swiftblade, and the Pirate Swordsman. I'm not entirely sure what I think of this collection of mobs quite yet, as this does bring guns into Dark and Darker.
There it
or
is.
at least makes that technology
There it
canon to
is.
the game. Now don't get me wrong, in a fantasy game anything is possible,
'Kay.
but based on the technologies provided in the other maps in Dark and Darker, the existence of guns seems a little bit out of place. I'm fine with pirates, like Pirate Swiftblade.
I disagree, dude. I disagree. This changes the canon and the lore and the history of the Dark and Darker game universe, but I think it does have a place. I like the fantasy elements, and historically, and like many other things do, you can add in like a bit of steam power, a bit of magic, and like light gunpowder usage, and you just make that not OP. Like I said, you make it so the guns just have like an inherent chance to miss or backfire or whatever, and you know that's how balance works. We'll slowly make it better and better. Also, this ring that he's looking at is crazy. Add fizz, action speed, PDR, MDR. That's statted. I like where they're going with this. I think it's interesting. It also opens the door for new traps, like a cannon trap or like a scatter shot trap, or I don't know, anything.
And the Pirate Swordsman seem fine, but gunpowder as a canon technology in Dark and Darker
Yes.
seems a little bit out of place.
No, bring it on.
Next, we have the Tidewalkers, which are broken up
What
into
is this? It's got magic cards? That can't be legal. All right, I'm probably not going to be able to have advertising on this video, and that's okay.
Reeflings, Tidewalker Boomerang, Tidewalker Club Fighter, Tidewalker Mage, and Tidewalker Spear.
Wow, this is a lot of mobs. This is a lot. So we have merfolk. Wait, no, what are these called? Naga? What are like the underwater little like humanoid creatures called? They look kind of like murlocs. So they've got a boomerang, a reefling, a club fighter, a mage, and a spearer. So you know what? There it is. Maybe you kill the Tidewalker spearer, and he drops a trident, and you can throw it. I love that for us.
Much like the skeletons, but I could not find much information on Tidewalkers that I think will be used
Oh
in
my
Dark
god, I
and
love
Darker.
this. Thank you guys for being here, chat. Chat says, if there's an alchemist, there can be black powder that can be crafted. Okay, you have to use. Okay, we're cooking. You have to use the essence from the Lich, right? That essence is like 9,000 on the market, and you use it to make Void Blade and like some other stuff. You have to use that to make black powder, and you cannot loot guns anywhere in the game world. You can't loot them. It has to be crafted. And it has like one shot only, and you have to like refill it, and it takes forever. You gotta like put the thing in the barrel and like get the black powder in there, and you gotta like pull back the flintlock, and then you like light it for a second, and then it shoots. There are ways to make this balanced and amazing and economically feasible for our game world. I'm excited. This is a great day. Thank
There
you,
is Magic
W
the
Ryan.
Gathering, which
W
lists
chat.
Tidewalker as an elemental or a water spirit, but based on the weapons tied to their names, it does seem like it's going to be more of a tidal warrior approach, which is a creature that is also in the Magic the Gathering universe. Again, there's no official model I could render for any of the Tidewalkers quite yet, but I do imagine a fish humanoid, or fish head human body-ish kind of thing. You know what I'm talking about. Up next, we have anemones and urchins, which I think are going to be more of traps opposed to fightable mobs. They
Yeah.
are found in the monsters folder, but the real life versions of them are quite still, quite stable, and they don't really do much movement. So
Yeah, I like that. Maybe you can also like kill them, and then you can herbalize them or whatever. Like if they're dead, you can then pick them, and you can use that to make some sort of new stuff. Because we haven't really seen it yet this wipe, as far as I'm aware. But already in the game files was like a powder of reveal and new throwables. And so there are a lot of ways, in my opinion, where they're going to be able to add fishing, herbalism, mining, and you combine those elements to craft new stuff. We could have a paralytic poison that paralyzes you for like 0.1. I'm not saying that's a good idea. I'm just saying it's a possibility. Or like a spell or whatever where there's like a very light CC on it, sort of like Cleric's Bind. We'll see.
I think it's going to be more something that you step on or touch and it applies some sort of effect. Right now, the anemones do paralyze and the urchins do bleed. But of course this could change. They could add more effects or even magical versions of them. Anything is possible. The last set of monsters is basically just basic sea life that is found in the game as just a named file essentially, with maybe a default action. This list includes the blue marlin, cuttlefish, jellyfish, hermit crab, octopus, piranha, moray eel, white shark, and turtles.
That's a shitload. That is a shitload of new stuff. That is 9 brand new creatures that could all have their own hunting mats, new quests associated with them. It's filling the entire new underwater map with life. That introduces fishing. This is awesome.
Some of these mobs may be passive, some of them may be aggressive, they may be used for some food or fishing application in the future, they could be just background characters. I'm not entirely sure what they're gonna do or if they'll stay in the game files, but do know that they do appear there and they are listed by these names.
Great shot.
Alright, now let's take a look at some new data mine utility items.
Let's go.
Starting with
I love this
the
stuff.
Ghost Dust Pouch.
Okay.
This utility item, when used, will reveal all invisible units in an area for a set amount of
W,
time.
dude.
Now, the
W. I cannot get killed by ambush rogues anymore. Please, God, allow me to craft this Ghost Dust Pouch. I'm just going to throw this everywhere. I'm going to bring like 100 per dungeon. I don't care how much they cost. And I'm just going to throw it. I'm going to throw it at every door into the boss room. And I'm just going to hope Invis Wizards and Rogues W key me through the Ghost Dust. This is the greatest item ever. And as you guys know, going invisible is illegal. That's a crime. You're not allowed to be invisible anymore in my dungeons.
PvP applications for this item are pretty obvious.
Pocket
You're going
sand.
to use it to reveal rogues, but this does add some more functionality in PvE. I think we're going to start seeing some cool boss fights and mobs that will utilize invisibility.
Oh my God, dude,
as there currently are none in Dark and Dark.
He parried a dagger. He parried a dagger. With like 1 second. Dude, Brian has insane reflexes.
And mobs that will
How, dude? How did he parry that?
utilize invisibility, as there currently are none in Dark and Darker. So yes, RIP rogues, but this could lead to some cool
Fuck
new
rogues.
adventures.
Fuck rogues, I don't care.
Next, we have the Poison Cloud Vial,
Okay.
which will spawn a poison cloud at the used location. I do think that this is going to be similar to the Zombie Cloud, but more of an immobile version
Oh my God,
of it,
amazing.
and maybe used more to block sight lines, opposed
W.
to just apply damage in an
W
area.
Iron Mace.
So Dark and Darker's version of a damaging smoke grenade. Next, we have the Sunburst Orb,
W.
which we don't have too much info for it right now. The current text is just a placeholder, as it's the exact copy of the explosive bottle. But I do think the Sunburst Orb, just based on its name, may be a flashbang, similar to the Wisp's explosion.
Can you
when
guys see
kill
my
it.
cat?
Again, that's just a complete guess. I have no idea what this
That's
is going to do.
that's a good
it
guess.
could just be a small
That's a really good guess, and I love that idea because the flashbang from the cleric spell, what is it, divine light or like searing, I can't remember, divine strike, whichever one it is. That's a phenomenal effect for the game, and it allows you to still operate at 100% of effectiveness, essentially, other than the fact that you're like slightly deafened and blind, but you can still play and you can still. I like that. It's not really a CC. It's more just like a distortion effect. And if you could throw a sunburst vial and it creates that effect, that's gonna be really cool. I love the idea of adding a bunch of random little utilities that aren't that strong. And they'll cost money. So now when you kill somebody and you go to loot them, there's like more like random stuff to grab. Because a lot of times we take people's potions and bandages, and it's going to be cool when they have keys and troll's blood and sunburst orbs and revealing dust. All this stuff is just more things to loot. And it's becoming, in a way, more competitive because you have to bring enough utility and items to compete. And so it becomes more expensive at the highest levels of play, the highest echelons of Dark and Darker and High Roller. People bring Troll Blood and Lockpicks and Luck Potions and Sunburst Orbs and Clouds of Reveal. And so now when you kill these players, especially at the beginning of the match when they still have all their utility, right? They don't have a chance to use that. That means when you kill players, you make a lot of money. Already when you kill them and they didn't use their Troll Blood, you get like 500 to 2,000 gold based on where we're at in the wipe. And so it also gives the idea that if you drop into a map like Ruins and you kill somebody right away, you get their gear and all their expensive utility items. And then you go blue because now it's risky to continue going throughout the dungeon when you could just reset and make a bunch of money and then go again. And I love that. This is a great direction for Dark and Darker. And the truth is, even though it costs more money at the highest echelons of play, you can still win with nothing. You can still drop into High Roller with like a purple weapon and nothing else, and no utility, and you can pick up a dub. And then you take the other person's items and utility and you continue playing, and it feels really good. You can still 0 to hero in normals. I love all this. I think that right now the gear is in a really good spot in Dark and Darker because you can beat people that significantly outgear you. You can outplay people, you can use monsters, you can third party, and you can have really big come ups. And that's an important part of this game. And as far as I'm concerned, all extraction and all full loot PvP games, the ability to win even when you're outgeared. That's a really good system, and the Iron Mace devs are constantly looking at those numbers and they're lowering the gear gap. And that's fantastic because someone can pay 250K for their kit and they can go on a rampage like Repos and kill everyone for 2 hours. Or you can buy a 250K kit like I did the other day with my Echo of Screams, and you can just die the first raid to the first person you meet. That's Dark and Darker.
Iron Mace does not
And
give
that's
a
just a
fuck
complete guess. I have no
about
idea what
me.
this is going to do. It could just be a small AoE burst damage or a knockback like the Fireball. Only time will tell with this one.
Nice,
And
unique.
lastly, the final utility is the Tar Flask,
Ooh.
which, again, has a placeholder description. It is the exact copy as the explosive bottle, but
No,
based on the name,
that's gonna be a slow for sure. I actually don't like this. I don't like Tar Flask. This is the first one. This is an L. I don't like slows. It fucks with the natural outcome of all fights. This is like a necessary item now. You have to slow people chasing you. The people chasing you are trying to slow you. I don't really like that, but it does make some fights that might never end reach their natural conclusion. If the other player that you're chasing doesn't have a Tar Flask and you do, and you slow them and catch up and beat them, you outplayed them. If I'm being honest, you outplayed them. So you'll have to have Tar Flasks for chasing and for escaping. They throw a Tar Flask at you, you throw a Tar Flask at them. You're now moving at the same speed again until you're both out of the Tar Flask. And then you're moving it at the chase is on. So now you have to bring like 6 Tar Flasks a raid. And I'm starting to like this idea actually. I didn't like it because I usually don't like CC of any kind, but I'm just biased. And I played World of Warcraft for a while, and it just sucks to be like giga stunned the entire fight and be like, cool, I couldn't do anything. But I don't know. Now that I'm saying this out loud, it's just another thing that you can bring to beat people or to run away. Or maybe they hit you with the Tar Flask and you hit them with the Sunburst Orb, and even though you're slowed, they're blind. That's cool. That's cool. And things like this add a whole nother level to the game. And if I'm being totally honest, and this is a really big hot take, Dark and Darker is becoming more competitive. High Roller Trios Dark and Darker is full of very competitive squads. A lot of times they have artifacts. It's easier to make money this wipe than ever, and people are more geared and they're more prepared and they have better communication. A lot of times these boss fights have like 4 or 5 teams pushing them at the same time. I killed Lich the other day, and 4 separate squads of 3 came in High Roller Trios, and Repos killed me. And that's okay, because he played better. And this stuff is all good for that. They push into the boss room, you throw Tar, you throw Revealing Powder, you throw Sunburst Orbs. All the squads are doing that, and that's going to make the clips even more awesome, because the outplay potential is huge. It's huge. The gear gap is smaller, but the outplay potential is bigger, because you have to decide when to use this stuff. You have to be really, really fast. And that's amazing. I love all of this now. I love everything that Ryan 6 Days a Week has brought up. Again, guys, the video link to this video from Ryan 6 Days a Week is below my video and in chat. Please follow, like, and subscribe, Ryan. This is good content.
I do think this is going to be a throwable slow. Well, I don't really see how this could be anything else. So my guess would be just chuck it at the ground, it breaks, and creates this AoE the same size as a Molly.
Okay, I'm sorry I keep pausing, but chat said it's about to be like a Valorant match. That's not a bad thing. That is not a bad thing. I know there's a lot of gamers in this category that are older and they have slower reflexes, and you can still win and you can play ambush rogues and you can still have a really good time. It's okay if this game becomes more like Valorant, because most games are competitive on some level, and it's probably going to be limited to the highest echelons of High Roller. The 225 plus HR is already very competitive, and now will become slightly more competitive. And that's okay. We can just play normals. We can hang out. We can have fun. We can RP. We can be a druid and run around and get herbs. We can fish. Iron Mace wants to release a tavern, which is a social space for players to just gather. You can go relax there. Hopefully you'll be able to play the upcoming Dark and Darker card game that STF wants to introduce. You can wear cosmetics and bring your artifacts. You can chill. And Iron Mace wants to release housing. So you'll go in your house and you'll buy furniture and you'll craft and you'll put trophies on the wall. and you'll hang out in the tavern, and then you'll go into the dungeon. There's going to be a multitude of aspects of this game, and in my humble opinion, Arena is already a very competitive place at the highest echelons. Last season, they introduced a top 100 rank for Arena participants where they had their own icon. That's what Valorant does. That's what Apex Legends does. The best 500 players are like Apex, and they have their own icon. And we're going to have that. And when you watch the best players in this video game, like Ken Nabi, Jay Griffia, and Repos, and Promos, and Popcorn Nate, they are performing at a really high level. And this coming week, we have a seriously soapy $4,000 tournament. That's going to be really competitive. And I can't wait to see what people do there and then compare in a year that level of esports of the seriously soapy tournament to what happens a year from now when people are throwing tar flasks and sunburst orbs and they're on the sunken ships shooting muskets at each other. This is awesome.
But instead of damaging fires, it creates slowing tar. Alright, now for the last section of this video, I'm going to go over what's still in the files from the end of last wipe that didn't quite make it in for this current season. Quite yet at least. First, we have the Loot Goblin,
Yep.
which actually has a complete model. No real in-game functionality built into this Loot Goblin quite yet, but I do imagine it will do,
He should drop gems.
Loot Goblin things.
Drop
Run
legendary
around,
gems.
pick up loose treasures, loose
Yeah,
gear,
hell yeah.
and sprint away from you
Oh,
if
man.
you try to approach it.
Okay, if he picks
Next-
up loose gear, that's going to be really funny. If you like find him at the end of the dungeon and you kill him and he just has like a like a bunch of gray gems and like green bangles, like if he actually picks up real items in the dungeon, especially if he can loot player corpses, and he just has like bandages and potions and like a shitty green ring, that's gonna be hilarious, man. I hope that's in. I hope he spawns in late like players do. That's a system that we've never seen, right? Currently, when you spawn into a map, everything's already there. All the monsters are there. All the chests are there. The mimics are already sitting there. You just have to find them. So they could code in where on the 4th and 8th minute of a map, a loot goblin spawns in somewhere random where players aren't. And he just starts looting things and he just walks around. That would be awesome. These are all dubs. Every single one of these things so far is a dub.
Next, we have the Tetuckle, or Fishman, which again has an in-game model. But
Okay.
looking at it now, I don't know if this is going to be an actual monster
That looks
or
like a player
skin that the user can
no,
buy.
that looks like a player skin for sure. That is definitely a skin, and he should have. I don't know what that stupid creature should have. That's like +1 knowledge, -1 strength. I don't know. It's a fish. I don't care.
It does look like
I'm
around the
not
same
playing
height
that fish.
as our
Oh my
characters.
God, dude.
And it's the same posture.
These I cannot believe that Ryan submits videos for us with data mine files, and he has like the 5 best fights in the world in the background.
Monster
This rat
or a
just got
skin that the
smoked.
user could buy.
This is high roller.
It does look like around the same
This
height
is high
as our
roller, dude.
characters. And it's
Look at how fast he pulled out the bottle. The minute you heard squee, 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 fire on the ground, Druid got one shot. He's got fire coming out of his butt. He did. That guy could have legendaries. He could have artifacts. And that's awesome. And this right here is why Druids are not overpowered. So don't stop trying to nerf Druids. They're fine. Barely anybody plays them, and they get one shot all the time. All the time. They get one shot by traps, monsters, and random things. They can't transform when there's space to transform. It's a hard class to play, and if you think Druid should be nerfed, you should go play Druid for like a week and then report back. Drop down below, drop a comment if you think Druids are balanced, or if they're not. I want to hear.
the same posture too. So I really don't know about this one. Next, we have the Seawalker, which
Oh,
still has yet
sick.
to receive a model in the game files,
they're like
but
White
it still does
Walkers.
have that actor status effect ability, which is Slimy Floor. I imagine this is going to be create a slimy floor slowing field.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the gas cloud, but doesn't move around. It just spawns at the base of the zombie and will slow you if you walk through it. Next, the Midnight Stag, which
Awesome.
not only does have a game model, but now has an achievement tied to it. So I do think we'll see this creature quite soon. Probably on the ruins map if I had to guess,
you know
since
what?
it's the only
It looks like a unique. It looks like a really random mob that will just barely ever spawn, and maybe it will drop like its own item similar to all the other uniques. And if you're newer to Dark and Darker or you just have bad luck, you probably don't know, but there are unique monsters all throughout the game world, and they have a 50% chance to drop a unique item, like a little weak artifact. For instance, if you open Tiny Chest and it's a mimic, it has a chance to be the unique monster Slinkfowl, and he has golden teeth. And when you kill him, he can drop on a 50% chance a Wanderlight Lantern, I believe. Right, chat? And that reveals the footsteps of your enemies. That's really cool. It's super awesome and totally different. And I hope the Stag has something like that too. Like, he's got an achievement, so he must be like kind of rare. I hope he drops, I don't know, the Midnight Antler Horn or the Midnight Deer Horn, and you can use that to craft like, I don't know, a potion or something. A potion that gives you plus 10 move speed for 30 seconds. I mean, that's contentious. People already don't like the move speed meta, but I don't know, that'd be kind of cool, especially if they can just throw tar at you anyway. So you get like a little move speed boost, then they throw tar at you, and now you're slow. Like things like this just add to the competitive nature of the game, and that interests me. But obviously, that's just speculation.
Force the outdoor map.
We'll see.
I do think this creature will be quite important to the game since it also appears in this loading screen, which you've probably seen a dozen times. Alright, and to finally wrap up the video, I want to go over again the 4 images shared with us at the end of last swipe of the new map, since I found something pretty interesting with the last image. The first 2 images show some aerial shots of the boat itself that seems to be wrecked on some rocks in the reef.
Okay.
And of course it shows some doors that I think would lead into the cabin of the boat, so quite explorable.
You already know that a barbarian's going to break every door on this map. So none of these ships will have any doors because barbarians will just break through them. No, honestly, Iron Mace should invent new doors because these little wood doors are just broken everywhere in the dungeon all the time. They're never there because barbs don't care about doors at all.
The third image here shows an underwater shot that is pointed upwards towards the shipwreck and shows some unique lights. Do pay attention to the shape of these lights.
Okay.
Now in the fourth image, which is also an underwater shot pointed upwards towards I think the interior of the ship, we see something quite interesting.
True,
Pay
that is the
attention to
top.
these
That is
lights
the
down
ship.
here. I don't think these are actual lights like in the image before, but these might
air
be
bubbles.
new ore types
Wait,
found
what?
in exclusively this map.
No.
They aren't the same shape as
Wait, maybe. There's one over here as well. There's one in the background, and there's one here and here, but I don't think that's ore. I think that's air bubbles, and you will have to stop yourself from drowning. And you'll have to PvP around these and be conscientious of how much air you have left, and that's going to be a really cool part of this map. And map knowledge is going to go far. I don't think this is ore, but...
as a froststone ore, but they do have the jagged appearance that we find across all the ores in the game. Again, I have no information or confirmation that this is a new ore type, but I do expect the next release of gear will be crafting focused, since on top of this being a possible ore type, we do have a number of boss items that aren't using
That's
any
true.
quest
This
and no
is
current
true,
crafts.
and I'm excited
Alright
for this.
gamers, I hope you had a great
These are awesome. I can't wait because the Spectral Hilt is obviously going to be for a sword, and I'm hopeful. Right now, the Spectral Knight is freaking awesome, and I hope that we have weapons and armor types that are unique and interesting, and they continue to add to that. Spectral Hilt could be once every 20 seconds when you swing the sword, that sword swing is unblockable and unparryable. That would be awesome. That would be so freaking cool, and most of the time it would be useless, but it would be really, really cool. Banshee Sonnet, I don't know. I hope that's a bard item where like you craft like a powerful artifact, the Sonnet of the Banshee, and if it's in your inventory, your bard buffs last for 30 seconds more if they're like 2 minutes or higher. If they're only like 10 seconds or lower, it adds 1 second. Or put a percentage on it. Your bard buffs last 10% longer. Or it can randomly roll. It can randomly roll from between 5 to 10%. And then you can gem that. Gem that little fucker to try to get better buff duration. That would be awesome. Warlord's Armor Shard, I don't know. Maybe I hope it's just cosmetic because Warlord looks awesome. Warlord looks freaking sick. And you can probably go all kinds of places with that too. That lets you craft a Warlord cosmetic skin, and you can look like the Warlord for one raid. That would be so awesome and so random and so expensive, and I would buy it because I want to look like the Warlord, and I'll go around all RP. I'll RP as the Warlord with a spectral sword, and it's going to cost me like 50,000, but I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm the Warlord. Bow down or die. That would be freaking sick.
holiday season. I'm looking forward to some awesome
too.
adventures in 2025.
Let's go, Ryan.
If you have any questions at all, or just want to
I
talk
got another
about and
parry.
theorize what's
He's
coming
a
in Dark and
monster.
Darker, leave a comment
He's a monster. He's fucking parry riposting rogues. That's crazy.
below. Find me on Twitch
That
on
is
Tuesdays and
crazy.
Thursdays.
Drop this guy some follows, some likes, and some love. He's amazing. I already commented on the video. I liked it. I subscribed. You guys should all do that too. That's fantastic. Thank you, Ryan. And now we're just going to wrap up this video really quick, guys. I'm going to make it short and sweet. And I just want to show you the future of Dark and Darker because I have some really, really good news to show you all. And this makes me really happy because we've been talking about the Dark and Darker test server for the last 2 years. A lot of people paid for a higher version of the game, And part of that version is to be able to go onto the test server and play. And this is freaking awesome, and this is huge news, and I haven't seen other creators talking about it, but welcome to the reveal from So Bad Strange, world first reveal, that the test server has been updated and is now the current build of the game. Iron Mace has already said they want to bring the test server somewhere else and have it be more accessible to people. It's probably going to come to Steam. I don't know. That's my hope. But this test server is active and alive with new updates. We have all the new maps without a queue time. You don't have to wait for rotation. We have the leaderboard functional, although not complete. We have religion functional, but not complete. We also have multiclassing here. So they updated to the newest version of Dark and Darker, and it has multiclassing. And that's really good because SDF doesn't want to scrap the entire multiclassing system. It needs some work, and it needs to be tested, and then we'll get new subclasses and new ideas, and fun things will be generated. In my class, the Warlock is already awesome. I have Advanced Healer. I have Overheal. I'm the best Warlock on this planet. I have Undead Slaying and Purify Undead. I'm the best PvEer alive. I can heal myself for like 25 magical healing per second. It's incredible. I'll have like 200 health with the Overheal. I'm immune to undead damage. I've got PFE. Like, I have everything. And I'm excited for that to come back because it's a cool system. It definitely needs to be tweaked, but it is interesting. I can also give myself Divine Strike. I have Holy Light. At one point, I had Resurrection. So you can... This is cool. And it needs to be tested, and it looks like it will be. We also have all the merchant quests and all the new merchants. This is all up to date. We also have Expressman as a merchant, even though Expressman is gone. So to me, that means that probably they're going to try to bring Expressman back in some way in an upcoming update. And this is amazing. And I'm very, very excited to see. We have Triumph XP times 1.5. Like, there are things in work in this game world that we're unaware of, and it's going to be fantastic. It is going to be absolutely awesome, and I'm excited to see the future of Dark and Darker with the new map, Monsters Utility, and I'm excited to be able to test those features on the test server. If they bring the new map to the test server first, all the players and all the creators will flock there. We'll make new content, new videos, and it's going to be amazing. So please comment, like, and subscribe if you liked any part of this video, and as always, I'll see ya for the next one.